From the Brandon's World family to yours. Merry Christmas here from Brandon's World. We hope you all had a great holiday. Today, we are going to recap week 16 in the National Football League season. Now, if you have not already, if you have not watched the Brandon's World Merry Christmas special or listened on audio, it is our biggest show of the year, and I suggest that you do so. We are available on all audio and video podcasting platforms. This includes Apple, Google Play, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube. We are in collaboration with Voltage Live. Now, just like last week's NFL Week 15 recap, there are some games that do not have playoff implications. So we're not going to go through every single game like we do early in the season and go through the scores and all that. I'm really just going to give you my thoughts on some of the biggest games in the NFL playoff picture moving forward. I will recap my money line picks and best bets. Let's do that now. In the money line, I went 11-5. My misses were I missed Atlanta defeating Indianapolis. I had the Colts in that game. I had Minnesota defeating Detroit. I had I had Jacksonville defeating Tampa. I had Denver defeating New England. And then I also had Kansas City defeating Las Vegas. That puts us another 11-5 week in the money line, just like last week, back to back weeks. That puts us at 160 and 80 on the year in money line picks. That's 2 for 1. That's really good. I'll take it. In best bets, we did end up hitting the Rams -4.5 against the Saints. We missed the Vikings +3 against the Lions. We missed the Jags +1.5 against the Bucks. We hit Miami -1.5 against Dallas, and we hit Baltimore +5.5 against the San Francisco 49ers. That puts us at 3-4-5 in best bets, which again on the year puts us at 52 or 79 with one push. I will take that almost 60%. We have not had a losing week in best bets since week 7. Saints at Rams. Again, I thought the Rams would win. I think the Rams are the better football team. I think the Saints, the Derek Carr experiment did not work. I do think that they need to move on from head coach Dennis Allen and even potentially quarterback Derek Carr. For the Rams, I think they're one of the hottest teams in football right now. They could make a good run here at the postseason, but depending on who they play, Rams, Philly, I think they could go home in the first round. Bengals at Steelers. I said the Steelers were going to find a way. They rattled Jake Browning in week 12 when they played. I should have bet them +1.5. I knew that they were going to kill Cincinnati. I should have done it. I should have listened to my gut. Excuse me. Instead of finding better value on the board. Buffalo, of course, defeated the Chargers. I said it's really hard for a team in the NFL to cover 12.5. Chargers can stick quite well in a backup quarterback role. Browns, they trounced the Texans. They look really good with Joe Flacco. There's a lot of debate here in my hometown of Cleveland whether or not Joe Flacco is a better fit in Kevin Stefanski's system than one Deshaun Watson. I'm not so sure about that. I think what we saw with Deshaun Watson in week 10 against Baltimore, defeating them with a broken shoulder, I think Deshaun Watson is still the answer for the Browns at the quarterback position. Seattle, they defeated Tennessee in a really boring game. Atlanta bounced back against the Colts. Again, Atlanta is one of those weird teams. They win games, they lose games. They're either going to go 8-9 or 9-8. I suspect 8-9. Desmond Ridder, we know, is not the answer. Taylor Heinicke played well. I wish, for my fantasy football perspective, that Atlanta could get Bijan Robinson, the football back. But obviously that's not the case. They have a bunch of running backs they use. Green Bay defeated Carolina again. Whoop-de-doo. The Lions, they really took it to Minnesota. Minnesota had a chance at the end. Their defense could not stop Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown. that is a huge game this weekend between the Lions and the Cowboys. Jets defeat Commanders. Jaguars, they look bad. They have a chance to lose this AFC South division here against Tampa. Baker Mayfield, to me, has bought another year as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers starting quarterback. He is playing great football right now. He is in rhythm. He is really good. These are the best wide receivers Baker Mayfield has had on one team in his NFL career. I said about Tampa going into the year, I said they had the talent to win this NFC South division. But what I would do is, and I would have not moved off of Mike Evans or Chris Godwin, but I would have moved off maybe some of those defensive guys, get in position to take a quarterback. Because while Baker Mayfield has played well this year, and he has had actually a better overall year, if you take a look at his stats, than Patrick Mahomes, I don't think Baker Mayfield is the answer as the franchise quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Chicago. They defeated Arizona. Miami defeated Dallas. Obviously, big game there too. And think about, well, Dolphins now have a chance. If they can go into Baltimore and win that game, Miami has a chance to get the number 1 seed. Otherwise, in my opinion, because I do think Buffalo will beat New England, I think we could be playing for the AFC East title. Last game of the year here. Bills at Dolphins, Week 18, Sunday Night Football. New England. I said they're not tanking. I didn't think they'd be a good football team, but Bill Belichick doesn't believe in tanking. They're going to try to win games. They defeat the Denver Broncos in a little bit of a shock, though. I said Denver's not as good as their record indicates. They've been running the football a lot. They've been creating a lot of turnovers. They cannot do that against New England. Russell Wilson is not explosive. He has not played well enough to me to live up to that contract, but Denver has no other choice. They're probably going to stick with him as their quarterback next year. Vegas pulling off the biggest upset, pretty much earning Antonio Pierce's job by defeating the Chiefs. And we've said it here on this podcast all year long. Andy Reid, Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce looks really old. Rashid Rice is not a go-to number 1 wide receiver. And with Kelce's lack of mobility, it seems like down the field this year, Kansas City really has no deep threat at all. And they are struggling. Philly almost gave it away against the Giants. Story of the Eagles season. Turnovers and letting teams back into games. Still showing they're one of the best teams in the NFL. They can dominate any team on any given Sunday, but they're going to turn the football over and let teams back into games. But they're still in position here. If the Eagles win out, if Dallas beats Detroit, and if San Francisco can lose to the Rams in Week 18, because I don't think they're losing to the Commanders, Philly could still get the number 1 seed in the NFC. And then Baltimore, I said it. I thought the line was too high. I said I'd take Baltimore plus 5.5. They look like the best team in football. It's really, really hard to stop Lamar Jackson. When you have not played him a lot, there's a reason why he's only lost 1 time to an NFC team. And the Ravens, they got him Brock Purdy's face. They got him off his first read. A lot like the Dolphins offense and San Francisco's offense. If you can get Brock Purdy off his first read, he struggles for interception. Sam Darnold came in, tried to make it a ball game. It was not meant to be. As the Baltimore Ravens, now, I think that they will defeat the Miami Dolphins next week and get the number 1 seed in the AFC. And that'll do it for this edition of the BrandsWar Podcast. We will be back on Thursday. Like that clip from the BrandsWar Podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the BrandsWar Podcast right here on YouTube.